Well, folks, a second All Blacks squad has been announced. Remember, this is the All Blacks 15 squad, a 30-man squad, which is going to travel to Japan to play one game against the Japanese 15 and one game against Japan themselves. Kind of prep for World Cup for the Japanese guys. And you would think at least one or two of these guys on the board, via either form or injury or whatever, will end up going to the World Cup. So it's still one kind of worth keeping an eye on. But we'll go through some of the guys who've been named, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on the squad that has been kind of about to be assembled. Hookers are Sofo Amua, Ricky Riccatelli, and Tyrone Thompson are your three guys. So Thompson is kind of the youngest of the guys, but you would say in terms of the pecking order, Aumua is probably the next cab off the rank. If anything happens to Dane Coles that he can't, can't go to the World Cup or, can't kind of get an injury-free run, then Aumua is probably the next guy. But he's another guy who has kind of horrendous troubles with injuries and concussions and whatnot. So you feel like that guy's potential has never quite been met through no fault of his own at times. For props, it's Jermaine Ainsley, Oli Jaeger, Tavita Mafaleo, Xavier Numia, and Aiden Ross. So Jermaine Ainsley is obviously former Wallaby, so that's a bit of a kind of code switch. He has played for the Māori All Blacks. Remember, Oli Jaeger could have ended up going back to play for Ireland. I think he's eligible for a few countries, but it's good to know that he's in the mix, the Crusaders guy, and Numia kind of is the youngest of the props that's been selected at 24. Locks, Akoi, Strange, and Walker Leawere. So just the kind of three guys who they've named as specialist locks. Akoi is personally the one I'm the most excited about. My old man reckons Quinton Strange is kind of Mr. Consistent, and admittedly, when he's fit, he is solidly consistent for the Crusaders, but he's another one, as of many of the guys in the squad, who's just had so much time off that it's kind of hard to kind of force your hand into the All Black squad proper when you can't get a consistent run of game times. But Akoi at loose forward or lock, preferably lock, is kind of one of my guys to watch. But that being said, he plays in a Chiefs side with some pretty good tall timber, so he doesn't get that much time to start. He often spends time from the bench. Loose forwards, and this is maybe one of the more competitive areas: Billy Harmon, Akira Ioane, Duplessis Karifi, Christian Leawilli, Peter Gus Soakula, and Cameron Suafoa. So there are some who are saying, how the heck did Soakula not make the All Black squad proper? He seems to be kind of on the outer ever since that Irish series, which has been kind of particularly disappointing for people who would like to see him represent Fiji. Although I would say Fiji's got some bloody good looses of their own. There's no guarantee he would have made that squad. And then, I guess if we're talking omissions, Tom Christie and Hoskin Satutu are kind of two of the bigger names, and those are a couple of your loosies who miss out. Satutu, the fact that he's not made either of the squads potentially means his position in the pecking order has just fallen like a absolute rock. And then Tom Christie, I mean, for the Crusaders, that guy is an absolute phenomenon in terms of his defensive tackling game. But I can understand if you've got Harmon and you've got Karifi in there as well, that they figure they get more from those other guys. I mean, Karifi and Harmon both have better kind of ball-in-hand games than Christie, but Christie out-tackles everybody. So it's kind of take your pick. Suafoa can cover lock if needs be. Leo Willie for the Crusaders has been in great form. So, it's just an interesting one for Akira Ioane at 28 years old to be in the All Blacks 15. You got to wonder what he's going to do with his future as well. For the backs, just the two half-backs in Folau Fakatava and Brad Weber. I really feel for Brad Weber, man. He's been playing some good rugby. But once again, he kind of finds himself dropping down that halfback pecking order, and at 32, you imagine, unless there's injuries, his World Cup campaign was probably done before it started, but we know he's off at the end of the year. Anyway, first fives, it's Brett Cameron and Stephen Perofeta. You feel like both of those guys are probably a wee way off the All Black squad proper. I mean, Perofeta was in the squad last year on the back of a kind of great Blues season, but saw kind of pretty token game time. Midfielders: Goodhue Nankivell, Billy Proctor, and Balin Sullivan. Goodhue, you feel like if he can get some consistent game time under his belt, is one that could still make the All Black squad. Nankivell, given he's off at the end of the year, is maybe a little bit of a surprising one. But Proctor and Sullivan, I think most fans would be pretty happy with. They've both been playing pretty good rugby for the Canes, both still kind of under 25 years old. So those are the kind of guys that you figure, like, this squad is made for guys like that. It's not really made for a Brad Weber. It's made for guys who aren't quite good enough for the All Blacks, or not quite ready for the All Blacks, or are waiting for someone to retire before they jump up for the All Blacks. But you know what I mean. Outside back, Sam Gilbert, AJ Lamb, Ruben Love, Etienne Nana Sutsuro, and Jonah Nareki. So all these guys, 25 years old or under. You do feel like there is a lot of kind of outside backs in New Zealand. I feel like that's not one area we are really lacking. I would have said Cortez Ratema as a 9, as a guy, if you were going to have a third 9 in the squad, who's certainly been putting his hand up, but I guess with only 2 games on the cards, they didn't see the need to name another one. The fact that there's no Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, I guess, means that that kind of wee experiment where they fast-tracked him into the All Blacks has basically been a failure. There was a little bit of talk about Levi Almua potentially getting into the squad with with his cracking season for Moana Pacifica and him leaving Moana Pacifica for the Crusaders next year. But he is conspicuous in his absence. Josh Morby is another one of those kind of outside backs who could have made it. But again, there are plenty of outside backs I quite like. Zahn Sullivan from the Blues. But as I said, I'm not real kind of torn with that kind of depth in New Zealand rugby at the minute. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts. How do you reckon this squad looks? Who do you reckon's been hard done by? What do you think if you're Brad Weber being named in the All Blacks 15? Would you be, motivationally, how do you get up for that one? I guess you just see it as a chance. I just need to play out of my skin and I can still make the World Cup. I guess that's pretty much what it is. But for a lot of these guys who are kind of either fringe guys, young guys, or guys coming back from injury, it is certainly a chance for them to keep themselves on Fozzie's radar. There's still a few games to go before the World Cup itself. So there will be injuries. There will be guys who become unavailable for whatever reason. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts on the squad. And I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.